personal photographs that she can have of the children. Notwithstanding that, way more information than is appropriate about these children has appeared on the internet. Their birth certificates are out there translated into Chinese. There are pictures. It is father's preference that not occur or not continue to occur. On the other hand, he acknowledges the reality that while he can control what he does, not control what other people do, and mother faces the same challenge. With respect to case law regarding relocation, this is definitely a Spalmer case. The court, father has let everybody know from the beginning he's on a visa that if the extension is not granted, the pending extension is going to be no good anymore and he's going to have to leave the country. You can't get more definite than that. The fact that he has not picked out an apartment or decided where he will go is a reflection of his hope that he won't have to disrupt the arrangements right now, but it's not in his control. And so what the court has to do is determine if father has to go back to China and mother has chosen to live in Colorado or wherever else she lives, which parent should the children be with? And that one is not even a hard question right now. Father has been the only constant in those children's lives since literally each of them was born. There is just no possibility that those children should be placed in a position where father is forced to leave the country without them. And if we want to talk about what would endanger the children, that's exactly the situation. And so we're asking, particularly given changing political scenes on immigration policies, and it varies from one day to another, whether stances are tougher or easier on immigrants. Father can't be in the position where he is placed between that rock and a hard place, leave his children behind, or violate immigration policies. And so we're asking that father be the custodian of the children, regardless of whether he is allowed to stay in the U.S. or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Counsel, for your helpful summaries. I appreciate it. So let's talk about where we go from here. I'm obviously going to take this under advisement and issue a written order. I think that counsel and the parties are certainly entitled to, and I want to make sure that I make an adequate and ample record with respect to the factors that I have to consider. And I think what we decided when we had our last status conference is that we were going to hold off on addressing any issues relating to potential child support, to the extent that remains an issue, until after the parties kind of saw what the landscape was going to be with respect to where the children were going to be and how parenting time and decision-making will occur. So what we might do is we could set a state if you'd like to, or what we could do is I could have you set a status conference, you know, within so many days after you get the written order, if that might be more convenient. I truly, you know, I've stopped promising that time of getting orders out, but I really hope to get this out within a relatively short time period, meaning maybe a couple weeks, 2 weeks or something like that. And if I could do it sooner, I will. It's just kind of a function of what other hearings we have. But it's truly my hope to do that because this case is something that I think we need a fairly quick resolution to because of the fact that we've got these immigration issues and unknowns. And the other thing is I think that the parties are entitled to certainty, particularly because the longer that we go without figuring out what needs to happen with, mother is that can be detrimental to the children, and we need to figure that out sooner rather than later. So do you have any preference? Would you like to just get the order and then confer and set it, or do you want to try and set it for a couple weeks from now to keep me honest?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with waiting for the order and then maybe getting, 14 days after to confer and set a status conference. And then that'll give counsel and I an opportunity to talk about our relative positions on child support.
Great. Ms. Hogan, do you agree with that?
I agree, and I think between counsels, we've been able to cooperate fairly well with each other so far, and I think we certainly would be able to do that.
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate that, and so I will endeavor to get the written order out promptly, and then we will kind of go from there. I hope that you all will continue to talk and communicate and further visits for mother with the children. I find myself, I've already started thinking long and hard about this case. And I guess I would say this to the parties, as I don't know when I will see you again, but I truly hope that the two of you can sort of move past the day and a half or almost 2 days that we've had here, because in some ways this case makes me incredibly sad, to be honest with you. You two saw fit to bring new life into the world. You brought two children into the world together. I know that it didn't go exactly as you had hoped or planned, but nonetheless, there's two children who have two parents, and I think that in order to have success and to have these children have full lives where they're not traumatized by what's happened with one parent or the other, the two of you need to start to see past what sounds like some very difficult circumstances that occurred and start figuring out how you're going to eventually co-parent. And I think that's going to take a lot of work on your case, both your parts, frankly. And I think you both need to think about how you're going to put the anger behind you and move on, because at the end of the day, this is really just about those two children and not about you. And so I just hope that, these hearings are always difficult. I think everybody probably had to hear a lot of things they didn't want to hear. And I hope that we use this now to kind of get it out of our systems and think about how we're going to move on and have a healthy relationship so that these children can really have the benefit of both parents and have healthy lives going forward. So with that, I will thank everybody. Thank you, counsel, for your professionalism. Thank you to the parties. Very much thank our interpreters. Julian, thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't know if you're here in the middle of the night, but I hope that you thank you for being with us. And I will get the order out, and then I'll just issue out a deadline for when we're going to set a status conference, okay? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
everyone.